Peace to the Creator. Without the Creator, who are we? Without the Creator, who are we? The Creator, we're made in His image. Now, in the first episode of the class, I hope y'all wrote down things that you can use to better your community. You understand? A lot of things that you've seen in that video, the first one, some of it was a little bit disturbing. I know that. I know it was disturbing. But a lot of people think that these things don't go on in these communities. They do. And you got some people who live it, walk past it, tiptoe. And it ain't just black people that live in these communities. You got white people living in these neighborhoods. You got Asian people that live in these neighborhoods. You got black people living in these neighborhoods. And I know some people like, well, you ain't saying Spanish. I don't believe Spanish people have their own ethnic type group. No, Spanish people are black. Then you got Spanish people who's also white, speaking language. Let's stop trying to make the Spanish a whole different ethnic group on its own. That's just, I know a lot of them have done that over the centuries. We know that. That's for another time. The reason why I did that is because I know a lot of people be talking about, oh, you mention these different ethnic groups. Let me tell you something. It's frustrating because you're constantly battling the same thing over and over and over and over again. But let's get right into the video. The video I want to get into is the video I left off. Basically, showing different melanated people voicing their opinions. Voicing their opinions and how they feel on, how can I state this? They're voicing their opinions on African American. What is the difference with Africa? I'm not talking about even the clothing, the way you talk, you dress. All this is part of the frustration. So let's get into it.
Black culture has grown immensely. So much is that some people would say black people denounce their own African culture.
I never said I wasn't black, I said I wasn't African American. And to me, that's a difference.
But over the past few years, it seems like black celebrities have grown to embrace the African culture, traveling to Africa, wearing different African threads, and even performing in concerts with popular African artists. Some dissonance with the African Americans and African culture existing today. And today we're going to get into the nitty-gritty and have a civil discussion and a panel and discuss why this dissonance still exists. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to do a panel discussion, Africans versus African Americans. Now in today's discussion, I'm going to have 6 other people with me today, 3 Africans and 3 African Americans, and we're going to discuss the dissonance between the two cultures and why it's still existing today. So I'm going to go ahead and have you guys introduce yourselves, starting off with the Africans.
Hello, my name is Chiswaka Patlik, and I am African.
Hi, my name is Valerie, and I am Nigerian American.
Hello, my name is Anavian, and I'm African.
Hi, I'm Caleb. I'm African American.
Hello, my name is Trayvon, and I am Black.
My name is Alexis, and I'm African American.
All right, so I got a handful of friends that I had around the area, and I wanted to ask them some questions so that we could see in a civil discussion what the difference really is between the two. So if you guys just stay tuned, we're going to get right into
Chap chap in a bando, I don't want to look like you. Chap chap in a bando, I don't want to look like you. Chap chap in a bando, I don't want to look like you. Chap 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 chap, look like you. No, I don't want to look like you.
start with the first question here, and it is, do you think that there is a difference between being African and African American? And who would like to start?
I'll start. I definitely believe there's a difference between African and African American. Although we came from the same continent, somewhere, somehow our cultures drifted apart. So we don't practice the same way, we don't do the same traditions, so we're definitely different. You can't call me a Black woman, I'm an African American woman. That's how I see it.
I believe in the wide, broad scope of things, that we all are the same, but culturally we, drifted apart, and we practice cultures differently. We raised differently, so therefore there's a lot of history behind, being African, Nigerian, and a lot of African Americans or Black Americans don't know that history. So I feel like in order to be one, you would have to know our history and take a sense of pride in that. So I do believe there is a difference.
I also want to agree with what they're saying. I think that African Americans, being born and raised in the U.S., we kind of adopted more of like the white American kind of lifestyle. We do, more U.S. nationalized kind of traditional things such as that, and they do more cultural, more African things, getting in touch better with their roots.
I kind of want to disagree with what she said. I don't say that we... I don't want to say that we've adopted white views or white cultures. I think we had to create our own culture. Being brought over as slaves, we had to create this new type of thing that we could be proud of. So it's not white culture necessarily, it's our culture that we've created.
Well, I want to agree with everybody. There is a difference, but it's, like Neve said, it's more of a cultural difference rather than a difference in I would say, blood.
I guess I'll round it off, okay. As far as the genealogy of African Americans, what I consider to be a Black American, which is a difference, I would say that we're all the same as far as our genetic makeups. But as far as our cultures, I believe there's a difference as far as a Black American, because as a Black American, I don't know if I'm Jamaican, I don't know if I'm Haitian, I don't know if I'm from South America. I don't know from where my slave ancestors were shipped to. They could have came from Brazil, where most of the slaves were shipped. So I can't necessarily attach myself with the name African American if my culture is also tied to Brazil, possibly. But what I do know my culture is tied to is being Black and being the color Black in America. So that's why I identify myself as a Black American. Now, an African, he can tie himself back to Kenya or Ghana or Nigeria, and his identity is sculpted by what he has tied himself to, or she. And an African American has tied himself to both those places and America, and living their identity in America. So that's the difference in my opinion.
Now, that small clip, did you see the youth explaining their ethnic group, their identity? And personally, I agree with some of them to a certain point. The last two females, they seem to be confused, frustrated. You can see it in their face. And this is one of my points that I'm making, how it's not easy to be able to have a conversation with people of our own melanin race, because how can you conversate with somebody? You can't give them evidence of where you come from unless you do your African ancestry. You swab in your mouth and you give it to the African ancestry. They do a DNA test to find out where you from in Africa, or your blood type is in Africa, or what type, or excuse me, whereabouts around the world. Because you might not just be from Africa. This is what I'm about to have done. I told you in my last videos. When I do get the kit, I'm gonna show y'all because I need to know where I come from, or how many places there's a possibility where I come from, but I'll be able to pinpoint it in an area that I can claim. Because I know a lot of you see me wear different, different symbols and things like that. And it's because I study different cultures, and understanding that African is its origin. When you understand that African is its origin, then why do I need to stick with this specific culture? When if African, it's or black people, it's its original origin. We're the first people on this planet, according to the story, according to scientists. So if I see an Asian person wearing an ankh, is that wrong? If I see an Asian person wearing a Buddhist monk, let's trace the Buddhist monk where it comes from. Let's trace its origin, and then from that point we trace the origin where his or her DNA comes from. We're gonna go back into this original state. Now, back to the video. The last two girls, they were frustrated, as you can see. And to underline that, please get your papers. Underline their frustration. They all was frustrated to a degree, but the last two girls was frustrated because the girl says, we adapted to the white man's culture. She's correct. Then the last girl says, I don't agree with that. We come up with our own culture. No, to a certain point you didn't. You don't. Because if you celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all these pagan holidays that don't belong to you, you are celebrating and adopting their culture way of life. You wear what they put out. You eat what they nourish, grow, and put this stuff in the supermarkets. So, in fact, you are adopted to their type of way of living. Even when you go to church, your church origin comes from their religion. You do not study, or they do not study, your heritage because you don't know who you are. So this is where the frustration comes from. And when you go to church, you only copying what the preacher or the pastor was taught in seminar schools. In these seminar schools, it's based on Greek theology. It's not based on African theology. It's based on Greek theology. If you listen to them, a lot of these pastors, they're not talking spiritual, African spiritual systems. They're talking Greek theology systems. Even though the Africans taught the Greeks, even though the Greeks, as time passed by, the history of Greeks were dark-skinned people. Whether you like it or not, their gods were our gods. But as time and centuries passed by, they stopped looking themselves as a black man, a darker skinned race. And you gotta remember this, you have to understand the concept. In those civilizations, color was not in existence. It was where they lived in a landmass. Greek. Right? You got Africa. They call them from whatever tribe they came from. Kenya, Sudan, Syria, the Republic of Congo, Egypt, which is really Kemet. You understand? Sumerian, and so on and so forth. They did not call you black. They called you either Nubian, or they called you from the tribe you came from. Totally different. And this is where our frustration also comes to be. Let's go back to that class. Let's go back to that class and check out more what they're talking about.
And you guys are welcome to ask each other questions if you need to. So, do you believe that, I know